Chase Young has it.
Welcome to Saints All Access, presented by Microsoft Copilot PC, right here on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. I'm Erin Summers. It was a challenging afternoon for the Saints on Sunday, who came up short against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 23-3. Despite the loss, the Saints defense had one of their best games of the season, and the team will look to regroup and bounce back next week. Here's a look at how Sunday's matchup played out.
First division game, didn't get it done. Unfortunate, we didn't do enough good. We didn't do enough good on offense to give ourselves a chance, and that's the unfortunate part of this thing. And so, we got a lot of stuff to work through and improve and get better at, and that's the journey we get to take.
They out-executed us. It's clear all game. We just, starts with me. We got to just execute better. Execute better, see things better.
We just got to play cleaner. We got to play better. We got to play to a higher standard, and so. The frustration is, there's not the consistency in all three phases where they can all complement each other. I thought, again, our defense, there were some really good plays in there. I thought our guys battled.
Between the 2-yard line, you just got to fight. Just push them back as hard as you can. They're going to run the ball. Everybody knows they're going to run the ball. You just got to stop it. I feel like hats off to our interior D-line, Gotchow, Breeze, Bull, Shep. They stood tall. Just control all the controllables, and we just got to continue to do it. Offense going to get right, and right when they get right, it's going to come right together because the defense, we ain't stopping.
At the end of the day, we didn't score enough points, so it sucks, and see how I can get better, and then we'll continue to grow as an offensive unit to try and get the job done. Because ultimately, the defense, they played really well. They made some huge stops. They're bringing the juice. We just got to go out there and execute, protect the ball. That's really on us. Like I said before, we got to continue to have that sense of urgency to continue to grow and do everything we can to win.
We're joined now by defensive coordinator Brandon Staley of the New Orleans Saints, coming off a great defensive performance against the Bucs, holding them to 16 points. What was the defensive game plan going in that made it so effective?
I think we really were trying to establish the line of scrimmage early in the game. We felt like Tampa, after their Detroit game, would really try to establish the run game. Take some pressure off their O-line, and I thought our front seven really controlled the run game early, and that allowed us to get into that big third down situation early in the game. And I thought we were able to bring that opening pressure, and I thought that set a good message for the rest of that first half, and I thought that allowed our guys to get into rhythm. But I think the way that we played against the run game really gave ourselves a chance to have control of the game.
Well, you can see that line play on those goal line stands. 7 of 8 from the 1 is really impressive, but how difficult is it to do?
I think what was so unique about it is that it was all inside the 1-yard line. It wasn't like, hey, 3, 2, 1. They were all inside the 1, and I think it showed the competitive character of the guys. It was true toughness down there, physicality, all the things that make football special. And if you're a fan, if you're a coach, if you're a player, it's one of those electric moments, and it gave us ourselves a chance to win the game.
Devon Gotchow said that he thought that the key was starting fast defensively. What exactly does that mean?
Yeah, Aaron, I think the last 2 weeks we've been able to do that, and it's been such a different feeling when you do start fast. And I think for us, it's been really going over the openers, making sure our guys really know how we're approaching and attacking the beginning of the game, and those guys being able to visualize how they're going to play early. And then again, I think the mindset of how physical and how aggressive we need to be. That's how players get into rhythm, where they're not reacting and responding. They feel like they're the ones that are on the aggressive. So I think it's been a good key for us the last 2 weeks, and we need to keep it going.
Is getting into rhythm something that Chase Young has done now, especially after that game against the Bucs? He was all over the place, had the strip sack, and he's been coming back from injury. But what did that game tell you about him?
Yeah, I think everybody can see the impact that he's made through his 3 games here. And you mentioned rhythm. When you're off for 6 weeks, it's really hard to just come back like good as new. And he had such a spectacular training camp for us. He was, our most impactful defensive player during training camp. And I think you saw the signs through his first 2 games, but this was a very complete game for him, and that's what practice does. When you practice, you get the time on task. A player as good as Chase is will knock those shots down, and I think what was great about his performance, he was playing against an all-pro left tackle, so that's one of those premium matchups that fans love to see, and Chase was ready for the moment.
What more can we expect from him in this scheme?
I think that the sky's the limit. Chase would tell you that. What we've just really tried to do is unlock the player in him. Just play fast, be aggressive, sharpen some things up within his game, but just try to get him in those isolation situations. That's all you need to do with guys like Chase, is get him one-on-one as often as possible. But he's been an impactful player throughout my entire time here in training camp. Like I said, we really felt like he would play exactly like he is now, and now he's just got to string together a bunch of these in a row.
We're through 8 weeks, which is almost halfway through the season. You have a lot of younger players, especially in the secondary, filling in right now. How would you evaluate where you're at? I
think they've been improving consistently throughout their entire season, and I think that's something that we're very pleased with. I thought in this last game you were really able to see the playmaking from Kool-Aid against one of the top young receivers in the NFL, Abuke from Tampa, who's having a fantastic season. But I thought this was Kool-Aid's best overall game. We were giving him a hard time. He was the player of the week against the Giants, but he played better in the Tampa game. And then Quincy continues to battle, to compete. There's so many things that he's experiencing for the first time, and I would say the same thing about Jonas. But I think that you see the competitiveness, you see the playmaking, and then now just the experience. What that's going to do for these guys is it's going to get them to play faster and faster as we go. But I think the way that I've termed it with them and with the guys is they're holding their own. And as a rookie, when you hold your own and you're able to make plays along the way, that's a good sign, and we just got to keep it going.
Coming up this weekend, it is a game at the Rams. What challenges do they present for a defense?
Yeah, I think it's the marriage of the run and the pass game. I think that's one of Sean's great talents as a play caller is they have an identity in the run game, and what that does is it sets up their entire passing attack, especially on early downs where plays look the same. It takes a lot of pressure off their O-line. They're able to get the ball to a lot of different people along the way, and then in the drop back game with Matthew, he's as good as it gets, in the pocket on third down, and 2-minute situations. He's always been, such a clutch player. So, I think when they onboarded Devontae Adams, it really changed their passing attack because now they have a feature player to go along with Puka Nacua. And then Kyron Williams is one of the top backs in the league. So, they're very well coached. They're having a really good season, and it's going to be a good challenge for us.
Nacua, it sounds like he's going to be back this weekend.
Yeah.
How does that change the defensive game plan?
Well, in a big way. Puka's one of the top players in the league, but we scrimmaged them in the preseason. So I think there's a little bit of familiarity, especially from some of our younger guys, which is important. That they've played some of these guys. If you haven't played against a Devontae Adams for the first time, sometimes there can be that shock factor playing against one of the elite guys. But we're just gonna have to go play our game, really make it more about us. That's what you definitely need to do on the road game and against a good offense. And I thought that last week was a good step in the right direction for us.
Do you have any familiarity or one-up because you were there for a year as a defensive coordinator?
No more than he does. It'll be a good chess match. Sean's one of my closest friends, and beyond that, I just have so much respect for him as a coach and as a leader. And from a play calling standpoint, we've done this against each other a few times now, and it's as tough as it gets. But it's also why you do it, to go against the best. And they're having a really good season, and like I said, I think going to LA, going back to familiar territory, it's going to be a fun challenge.
You were a quarterback, so I have to know, how did you end up on the defensive side of the ball as a coordinator?
Yeah, well, I wanted to be a coach, and the guy who gave me my first opportunity, Joe Novak, at Northern Illinois University, he kind of built NIU. He's one of my mentors. He loved the idea of a former quarterback coaching on defense because he felt like the quarterbacks know how to run the scout team the best. So the scout team operation would be clean, and he had a couple other coaches that had taken on that path. So he's truly the one to thank. He had the vision, and I wanted to coach, and he gave me my first opportunity, and the rest is history. I thought that there may be a chance, for me to flip to the offensive side at one point when I was young in my career, but I'll always be a quarterback at heart, coaching defense.
Thank you so much for joining us, Coach. I really appreciate it. And on the other side, we are going to take a look at one of those goal line stands and expert analysis. So stay with us right here on Saints All Access.
4th and goal. It's Tucker. and he is stopped.
Outstanding.
Welcome to the Week 8 edition of the Expert Analysis. I'm John DeShazier. Saints had a really good defensive day, and we're going to show you a series of defensive plays this week for our Expert Analysis. So here's the situation. 9:34 left in the second quarter. It's a scoreless game, and Tampa Bay is first and goal. They call it from the 1-yard line. Look where the ball is. That's not the 1-yard line. That might be the 12-inch line. So here it is. First and goal from the line for Tampa Bay. And the guys you want to pay attention to are right here. Nathan Shepard, Devon Gottschall, because they're going to make the play on this particular play. Let's let it go. We'll freeze right here. See, the big guys are able to swim, get past their defenders, and hit past the offensive players. And here's the ball carrier, and they're going to get a stop right there. Let it go. Here's your tackle. They keep him out of the end zone. Perfect. Now here's that second down play from the same angle behind the Saints defense. Again, second and goal from the 1-yard line. They really don't need to navigate except that distance to break the plane. But the guys you want to watch, again, Devon Gottschall, and here, Demario Davis, linebacker, who's going to fill that gap, and they're going to keep him out of the end zone again. Let's let it run. We'll freeze right here. As Gottschall making the move inside, he clears the space, and look at Demario Davis fill that gap. He sees the running back, and he's going to make the play. Let's let it go. Gottschall gets in, Double D gets in, they get him on the ground, and now you move to third and goal from the exact same spot with the same distance to navigate. So again, if it sounds like Groundhog's Day, it's because it pretty much is for the defense. Third and goal, same situation, but the guy you want to pay attention to this time, of course, linebacker Demario Davis, who winds up with 11 tackles, led the team in this game, and we're going to let it run right here because the Saints are going to get another stop on third down and goal. We'll freeze it right here. This is why Demario Davis is an all-pro, because he's going to make this solo tackle. He's credited with a solo tackle. Really phenomenal play by him. Let's let it go. Comes in, makes that stop, stonewalls him. And that's 3 downs where Tampa Bay has essentially had to navigate this much to get a touchdown. And actually, it was probably about that much on first down. But the Saints have been able to push him back a couple of inches and to keep him out of the end zone.
And the drive lasted over 9 minutes. They go back to White. Oh, did he get it? It's a block.
We're 4th and 1 from the Saints' 1-yard line. And here it is, another opportunity for the Saints to make a stand. Now, the guys you want to pay attention to, Nathan Shepard, and right out here on the defensive end, Chris Rump, because they're going to combine to really make this tackle, be able to keep Tampa Bay out of the end zone, which is critical at this part of the game. So we're going to let it go. We're going to freeze right here. You see Shepard with the stone wall right here. And now you see Rump really pushing his offensive lineman back into the play. So you see both of those guys really getting a stone wall, and that is allowing them to create this play. Let's let it go. There's your tackle. You see the celebration, and why wouldn't you? 4 chances from the 1-yard line. They began inside the 1, and the Saints get 4 consecutive stops in the run game. Phenomenal play by New Orleans. Unfortunately, you don't win the game, 23-3, but that is your expert analysis from the Saints Sunday game against Tampa Bay in the Superdome.
Joined now by ESPN Saints reporter Catherine Terrell. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me on.
The Saints coming off a 23-3 loss to the Bucs this past week. They look ahead to the Rams, but before we get there, the defense played extremely well. Offense had a hard time getting things going, and it led to a quarterback change in the third quarter. Spencer Rattler going out, Tyler Shutt coming in. We still aren't certain who is going to play this weekend against the Rams. What does that decision mean for this team?
Well, it kind of felt like this was coming at some point this season. I was surprised it happened so fast. You know, the week before the Bucs game, Kellen Moore was asked a lot of questions about the quarterbacks, and that's going to happen when you have a game where you turn the ball over and you struggle a little bit. But I think Rattler being pulled for Shuck was just a combination of things dating back to that Bears game. You know, the turnovers, there was a lot of protection issues. It was their first game without Eric McCoy. That probably factored in a little bit. And as Kellen Moore said, they just needed to find some way to give the offense a spark.
Going into that game against the Rams, they're 5-2. They're coming off a bye week. You're traveling to the West Coast. They're fresh, the Rams are, and they're playing some of their best football. I mean, one of the top teams in the league, led by quarterback Matthew Stafford, and he has a ton of offensive weapons. But starting defensively, they're third in the league right now. They are fourth in pressure. Where do you want to see the team really focus in on to try to have success against that Rams defensive front?
Well, the two things I immediately look at are protection and penalties. We've been talking about penalties since week one. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse, but you know, ultimately the drive that got Rattler pulled from the game it encapsulated all of that. You know, they had 3 penalties, I believe. They went backwards 8 yards. They couldn't run the ball because of the penalties. And you can't do that whenever you have a young quarterback. It's just so hard to operate that way. It makes the offense one-dimensional. You know, against the Bucs, they were barely able to run the ball, probably because some of these factors. So, you know, you want to be able to protect your young quarterback. You want to be able to put him in a position to get him some confidence, and also just be able to expand your offensive playbook and not just be playing behind and throwing the ball 30 plus times like they had to do last week.
We talked about it a lot this season, the Saints needing to start fast. They did so defensively, but offensively, we're still looking for them to do that because it changes your game plan, what you're able to do. Last week, 48 rushing yards. I mean, that number is not going to lead to a successful outing for your offense.
Alvin Kamara only had 6 carries, and I think they had, you know, a Chris Olave rush, but that was it. Otherwise, it was quarterbacks. It was Rattler, Shuck, it was Taysom Hill. And so they're going to have to figure out, one, how to balance Kamara and Devin Neal, because I don't believe Devin Neal had a carry. Yeah. It just comes down to consistency. You know, you can talk about it all you want, but they're going to have to figure out how to, you know, implement it and actually do this week after week. And so far, they just haven't been able to do all of it in one game. Sometimes they start fast, sometimes they don't. Sometimes there's no penalties, sometimes they are. If they could put it all together, then, I mean, I think that we'd see a very different team.
And you're going to have to do that against this Rams team led by Sean McVay. He's one of the best offensive minds in the league, so you know that side of the ball is going to be working. But defensively, they've really done a very good job this season. So what areas can the Saints defense maybe take advantage of to help things? I mean, turnover is obviously one of them. We saw a really good defensive goal line stand by them. So they had one of their better games.
I know the Bucs had a lot of injuries, but I actually was very impressed by the goal line defense. The one that they actually had a goal line stand, and then the one where they just almost had it, but the Bucs scored on 4th down. And so if they could continue things like that, and also it starts with the run defense. The Rams, you know, have Kyron Williams. I think that they have a very good run game. So if they're able to contain the run and make the Rams be one-dimensional, I think that'll help. But right now, the Saints are a team that are beating themselves in all phases of the ball. So they kind of have to be able to play perfect right now, honestly, and they're not doing that.
One person that the Rams will be getting back is wide receiver Puka Nacua, and they had Devontae Adams added in the offseason. So they're multiple, as you mentioned. They do a lot of things very well. So it's going to be a tall task. And the Saints secondary, they're young, but they have definitely shown that they're up to the task, and they've forced some turnovers in some other games, and we saw 5 against the Giants.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Just look at Jonas Sanker. That's a young player that's been very impressive. You know, he's forced a turnover. I think that Kool-Aid McKinstry has had a lot of moments where he looks really good. I mean, it does come down to consistency again, but there are these young players that have shown these flashes. But with young players, you're going to have those ups and downs. And I do think that Kellen Moore knows that, especially in that secondary where they went into the season expecting, you know, 2 veteran safeties and they quickly had to pivot. but I do think that some of these young players they have pivoted to have been impressive. I think Riley has been impressive. I think Sanker has been impressive. And so, Stutzman in his, few snaps that he's gotten, I think he's already shown things. So, they're just going to have to keep trending upward.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Going into this weekend, it is all about not hurting yourselves. The Saints have to play some clean football. On the other side of the break, we're going to get Stan Verrett's recipe for success so the Saints can get that W against the Rams. Welcome back to Saints All Access, presented by Microsoft Copilot Plus PC. I'm Erin Summers. It's week 9 and Stan Verrett is back in the kitchen with his ingredients for a recipe for success against the Rams. Let's check it out.
The Saints taking on the Rams in Los Angeles this week. They will be substantial underdogs in that game. Well, let's take a look at a recipe for success that could give them their best chance to pull off an upset. Saints have decided to go with Tyler Shough at quarterback. Now they have to devise a plan to protect him. The Rams come in with 26 sacks. That's good for second in the NFL so far this season. So the Saints will have to establish the run game to try to slow down that pass rush. They could also use screen passes, delayed handoffs, quick passes. However they need to, they have to try to keep that pass rush off Tyler Shough this week. The Saints ran the ball just 9 times against Tampa Bay. They'll have to run it more, and they'll have to run it successfully if they hope to beat the Rams. The second ingredient is reducing turnovers. It's not anything new, and it's fairly obvious, but the Saints have to protect the ball better. They had 4 turnovers against Chicago. They came back with 4 more against Tampa Bay on Sunday. And those 4 mistakes against Tampa Bay included an interception return for a touchdown that totally changed the tenor of that game. The Rams come in +3 in turnover margin. They will no doubt try to poke balls out, create turnovers in other ways as they try to exploit any lack of ball security on the Saints' part. So the Saints have to protect the ball if they hope to beat the Rams on Sunday. On defense, the Saints will have to communicate and they will have to tackle. The Rams' passing attack depends on timing, precision, and yards after the catch. That's how they turn short plays into long ones. The Rams expect to get all-pro receiver Puka Nacua back this week, and he specializes in yards after the catch, so the Saints will have to pay special attention whenever he's on the field. They have to be clear on their assignments, and they have to get receivers on the ground after they catch the ball. The Saints' best chance to win is in a low-scoring game in which they extend possessions and end those possessions in points. The Rams allow 16.7 points per game. That's the 3rd fewest in the NFL. So if the Saints are going to win, it'll probably be in a low-scoring game. So they need long possessions. They need to establish the run, take care of the ball, and don't give up big plays. Aaron, back to you.
It was a night of celebration and community in the Big Easy as Saints linebacker Demario Davis headlined the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Greater New Orleans relaunch event. Big impact in the Big Easy. Held at Common House, New Orleans, the event marked a powerful year of mentorship and encouraged locals to get involved as volunteers, mentors, and donors. Davis has been a longtime supporter of Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Earlier this year, through the NFL's Inspire Change initiative, he helped recruit 10,000 new mentors nationwide. Davis has often spoken about mentorship and how it shaped his own life, crediting a college chaplain for guiding his journey on and off the field. Demario and his wife, Tamala, continue that mission through their devoted Dreamers Foundation, empowering New Orleans youth with programs in leadership, academics, and faith. That's going to do it for this edition of Saints All Access, presented by Microsoft Copilot Plus PC. Thanks for joining us as we prepare for another big week of black and gold football, this time on the West Coast. Don't forget to follow along all week on NewOrleansSaints.com and across all of our social channels for the latest updates and interviews leading up to the Saints road matchup against the Rams on Sunday. We'll see you next time right here on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network.